Well, 1 week after Arizona teachers walked out of their classrooms, there's been some progress at the state capitol to meet their funding demands.
Yeah, who can forget those pictures from last Thursday as an estimated 50,000 teachers and school support staff marched from Chase Field to the state capitol, hoping to get more funding. And there has been some major progress while you were sleeping. A marathon session in the legislature coming to an end a little while ago with the governor signing that bill. Javier is at the state capitol. And Javi, I'm sure there's still going to be a lot of parents out there angry that some schools are still not in session today.
Yeah, Scotty, and there was a lot of confusion because a lot of the school districts said, yes, they would open the classrooms this morning. And then about midday yesterday, when they didn't think they would actually get the funding measure passed and approved and signed, that's when some of the states, the Red for Ed movement folks, said that they weren't going to go back into their classrooms until it was a done deal. Interestingly enough, just a short while ago, Governor Ducey sent out a tweet, a video of him signing the K through 12 education funding bill. But it's only that, the education funding bill, not the entire overall budget bill for fiscal year 2019. So I spoke with Joe Thomas, who is the Arizona Education Association president, and I asked him, is the statewide walkout over now that the Senate has passed that education funding measure? He said no, not until the governor puts pen to paper on an overall budget. I want to bring in Dennis Welch, our political editor here, for a breakdown of all of this, because there seems to be still a lot of distrust, especially after this entire process.
Well, yeah, you can see right here behind us, they're still setting up. They're going for day 6 down here. No, they don't trust this governor. They feel like they've been left out of this entire process, even though they've been down here every day. They still want another $1 billion that they say is owed schools. That would be for per pupil funding. You look at the numbers, students here in Arizona still getting paid less per pupil than they were 10 years ago. It's a big issue for them. They didn't get that in the budget. We saw some efforts by Democrats last night trying to tack amendments onto this budget plan, that K-12 teacher pay package. They were shot down every time. So no, they don't say it's over. And there's another education bill here today I know teachers are going to be focused on. It's a school voucher bill that is public money, taxpayer money that is used to send kids to private school. They don't want an expansion of that because that takes money out of the public school system, and they say stars them even more cash. That's something that's supposed to be heard sometime this week. They're going to make an issue out of that still, at least according to the teachers I was talking to walking up here this morning.
Let me ask you this, because the governor has been promoting the hashtag 20 times 2020, saying that he was pushing for a teacher raise of 20%. When you start breaking down all that math, it's not 20%.
No, it's not 20% right now. It's 9% or 10%, depending on how you want to look at it the first time. A lot of people think that money they could tweak that money in future legislatures, because what Governor Ducey has basically done with this budget is try to tie the hands of future legislatures. Because again, 9-10%, depending on how you look at it, this coming up year, another 5%, followed by another 5% in the 2 fiscal years after that. There's some concern that if the economy was to tank, to take a dip, that a future legislature in the next couple of years could come in and stop that money from going to teachers. So, you know, if you look at it that way, there's still a lot of distrust here. They would have liked to have seen that entire pay raise done this current year, put that in the base, make it permanent, give it those protections that they want so it's not cut or easy to cut in the future.
You've been at the state capitol covering politics for a long time. Teachers got a hard-learned lesson last night in watching how the sausage is made.
Yeah.
They didn't like what they saw necessarily, said that there was a lot of bickering back and forth. Is that just business as usual, as how they
I
work
would say,
down here?
but for the fact, you know, that you had thousands and thousands of teachers down here, yeah, pretty usual budget deal. I mean, a lot of times I've been here covering the budget, you know, from gavel to gavel, and they do go early into the morning. There is a lot of back and forth as Democrats will try to strike on amendments, Republicans, you know, beat those down. And so last night, I think pretty typical when you see that, except for the fact that like this was such an historic moment because you did have all these teachers down here for this really historic pay raise. Because remember, the governor is saying that, you know, he is happy to sign this bill. This was not something that he was looking to do at the beginning of the year. He was looking at a 1% pay raise, but because of a lot of the pressure that was put out there by the people here in red, 20%.
when you talk about the infighting, over the last couple days, we've seen some infighting within the Red for Ed movement. Yesterday, there was some video that surfaced of some teachers pointing to President Joe Thomas saying, you have not properly represented us. You are not considering us in some of the steps that you're taking moving forward.
Yeah, and it's pretty typical. I mean, you're talking about he's the head of this movement right now. He's the one who's been organizing this. So if something's not going their way, there's going to be some finger pointing. There's going to be some blame assigned. I don't think that's anything out of the ordinary. What you have to watch for is, how much more of that we see in the coming days, in the coming months. Because again, this isn't over. This is good. They're going to try to carry this out into November with those elections. It's something that they really want to do. They've pointed out. So we'll see what happens.
All right. Thank you very much. It's going to be another long day, especially for you,
Yeah,
buddy.
yeah.
Hard at work. Always some good insight.